outside of Matt Canada, the Pittsburgh Steelers offense will get a significant boost after the bye week, as Deontay Johnson says, hell yeah, I'm coming back after the bye this week, return for Los Angeles next week. Says he's 100%. He told me he's 100%. He gave a shout out to the trainer, says he feels fine. Every day he came in, busted his butt to make sure that he's ready for this week. I mean, the expectation as of right now is Deontay Johnson will be a starter and in the game when they head to Los Angeles following the bye. How huge is that for the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, especially a team that right now sits atop the AFC North and is 3-2 heading into the bye, who on the other side of it will get their top receiving weapon back and possibly Pat Freiermuth on top of that.
Yeah, I think it's huge. I love Calvin Austin, but outside of that deep ball against the Raiders, he hasn't really done much. He's been a little quiet. Deontay's a much more complete player. He's a really good receiver, and had been, I think, on a really good track before going down with that injury. I think this also gets people into better roles, roles that fit a little bit better. I think especially Calvin Austin, like he gets to not be a gadget player necessarily, but, play a role that I think fits his need more. He doesn't need to be, the Deontay Johnson replacement. Deontay Johnson can just be him, do his thing, and then you can use Calvin Austin in spots that are more suited to a guy who is in a de facto rookie season. So, yeah, this is a huge lift, not just because Deontay's a great offensive player, but I think it allows you to be a little bit more diverse, get more guys involved in different ways, and then, everyone just gets a little bit more comfortable because you have your full, actual starting complement of receivers in.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is, for Calvin Austin, huge. For Allen Robinson, huge.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it, George Pickens and Deontay Johnson alone. Like,
yeah.
Now all attention is on George Pickens, but it can't leave George Pickens. Like, teams are not going to game plan against the Pittsburgh Steelers and say, oh, well, Deontay Johnson's back. Well, that means we don't have to worry about JP. No, you got to worry about George Pickens. And chances are you're still going to double him. And when you're not doubling him, or when you are doubling him, Deontay Johnson's going to be wide open. And that is huge, because right now there is no other guy for Kenny to look to when he realizes that JP is double covered. And then once that happens, it's not like Deontay Johnson is an Allen Robinson or Calvin Austin or any of these, second tier wide receivers. He's a tier one wide receiver. You got to pay attention to Deontay Johnson. So once he starts catching balls, now you're trying to decide, okay, well, let's go double team him. Well, now George Pickens is breaking 70-yard receptions. Like, it is huge. It is huge to have a wide receiver 1 and a wide receiver 2. I think the absence of Deontay Johnson was significant for George Pickens. I think it helped a ton. I think it allowed him to break onto the scene more than what he was, and really develop just a repertoire with Kenny Pickett. Like, they always talked about, oh, we have a connection, it's strong. But when Deontay Johnson was there, he was your guy. He was your, you got to feed him because he's always open. Having those 4 weeks where you could look at George Pickens and say, look, you got to make a play here. You got to get open. You got to be able to do this. You got to add this to your route tree. And he was able to do all of it. I think that's huge for the growth of him. Now that you have both of those guys back, do I expect both of them to be 100-yard receivers week after week? No, but I could see a week where Deontay Johnson's a 100-yard wide receiver, and then the next week where George Pickens is a 100-yard wide receiver, and that's exactly what you're looking for. That's a scary offense for a lot of people, and it's going to help so many people, Kenny Pickett included, moving forward, especially because Deontay Johnson at the end of the day is such a safety blanket that if everything's not working and the game is moving too fast for Kenny still, DJ is going to be open. Deontay is going to be open. You could just look his way, throw him the football, things will be fine. It's a slow down option, and just overall, that's huge.
Yeah, and I think it'll help him stay on schedule a little bit better. George, as a number one, even as a number one, is a big play threat. You're looking way downfield, but I think Deontay can help them, run slants, outs, not necessarily those deep balls that are a little bit more low percentage, but can result in bigger plays. Yep. He can create some higher percentage throws for Kenny that help them set up bigger plays or help them stay on schedule and help them keep drives alive for a little bit longer. So I think that's going to be a huge thing too. It'll help out the running game as well. There are trickle-down effects from Deontay coming back and being who he is that are going to have a huge impact on the entire offense.
Yeah, I agree. How, what are your expectations after the bye week. You get Deontay back. Chances are you get Pat Freiermuth back as well. Presley Harvin's coming back. Anthony McFarland says he's coming back as well. So you get a returner finally. I mean, just you return from the bye week. You have all these weapons. Even if they were all there in week 1 and week 2 when things weren't going well, this team's definitely grown since then. What's your outlook? Is it like, okay, things will stay the same, or is it like, this is an opportunity for this to start rolling?
Well, it's certainly an opportunity for things to start getting a lot better. I mean, there aren't really going to be the same kind of opportunities for excuses. They had been kind of running out of those before, but now they're even less, and it's really time to. I think you come out of the bye week, you get a little rest, you get to kind of clear your head. This was an up and down start to the season, but you emerge from it in first place and in a really good spot. So at least in my opinion. So I don't know. I think I'm inclined to say things will get better. I'm inclined to say that just naturally by getting everyone back, I mean, you still got to execute and everything, but that, there will kind of be a rising tide that will lift them all up, make things a little bit better, make things easier on everyone. Like that's I think the biggest thing too, is that a lot of times, even when the Steelers score, it is like pulling teeth. When they put together these long drives, like I think it'll just be a little smoother, a little easier. Everyone will look more comfortable coming out of the bye week. Yeah,
I agree. I think at bare minimum, it's just like a launching pad. Like it's like, okay, look at right now, you're first place in the AFC North. You're 3-2. You're in a good spot. As bad as things have been, you're in a good spot right now. And you come back from the bye week rested and way more healthy than you were heading into it. That's, you control your fate at that point. You're either going to go up or you're going to go down, or you're going to stay the same, and staying the same is not going to work. So I think you have all the building blocks there to return from this and to kind of, make a little bit of a run and spark some things. And again, it's all on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we got to see that execution, but the pieces are there. The launching pad is there. I think it's significant. I think we could see a lot of growth from different players like Calvin Austin, like George Pickens, like Kenny Pickett, like the run game. I just think that it could be so big for everybody included as long as they execute. But, that's been a huge question all season long. But again, the groundwork's there. You just got to build off of that one.